Are live. Hello, good friends, and welcome to another episode of the 10,000 Layers podcast. I'm Kyle Radke, and I'm here with Julian Andrews. Julian, how are you?
Doing good, Kyle. Doing good. Just had class.
Done early?
Yeah, done a little bit early, so that's nice. What else has been happening? I've been cooking a lot. That's been good.
That is, I
Um,
picked our whole garden tonight
Hell yeah.
just to bring in for the winter. So that
What do
was
you
fun.
got?
We have, this is our first year actually like doing anything with.
Sure.
So I had some jalapenos, chive, green onion,
Nice.
basil, and then we had some cilantro earlier, but now that's kind of dead.
Nice.
So
That's
overall,
cool.
good little crop this year.
Yeah, Farmer
I mean,
Kyle.
I tried to make like a kind of like a French onion dip today with the chive and it was fine. I mean,
Okay.
I should just buy them moving forward.
Fair
Probably.
enough.
Julian, today we're going to talk about just our 2021-2022 like season predictions. So
Yeah.
standings on both sides, like season awards, NBA champion. There's really not much Timberwolves news. We talked about the preseason game that they won. They beat the Pelicans, and we kind of talked about some observations from that last week. I guess like the one thing that you actually texted me this. So for those who have paid attention this offseason, it's been really weird of guys in the front office just kind of like leaving
Yeah.
on their own. Like we saw Robbie Sika left. I mean, like, and obviously this was all addressed 2 weeks ago when Gerson got let go, that he was really difficult to work with. Very telling. John Krasinski had the scoop. Zarko, I can't pronounce his name. Duricic. He was there for every year I was there. I think he's been there for like 20 or 30
Yeah.
years,
Super long time.
honestly. Super popular scout, like outgoing and tall and just kind of goofy, and everybody liked him. He quit this summer because he didn't like working with Gerson, or Gerson didn't like working with him, or
I think it
whatever.
was a contract dispute.
Yeah,
I
but
think they tried to like stiff him.
yeah, yeah, I think you're right. I think I do remember that. But that always comes down to like, in my mind, like, yep, you need the right money and whatever, but also like for him, it's just worth not working, right? Like, oh, I'm just not going to work. Like that seems like worse than,
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
so it seemed like there was, whatever, but he's back now with Sachin Gupta in charge. He got Zarko back. So,
John Krasinski wrote a really long kind of inside the first couple days of Sachin Gupta's regime piece that went up today. I have full disclosure, I have not had time to read it. Maybe we'll read that and roll that into the next pod along with any kind of preseason updates.
Yeah, for sure. That's smart. I like that. But yeah, so not much. Wolves play again on we're recording this on a Thursday night. So you're probably listening to this on Friday. They play tonight then. They play the Nuggets. So we'll get some kind of more takeaways from what to expect from the Wolves. And Patrick Beverley said it best, I think, in the like it ended up being a really close game, but he basically was like, we were blowing them out when we had our players that were actually gonna play for us this year.
Right.
And so good news there. All right, Julian, let's get to our predictions. So first, let's go through our East and Western Conference predictions. So in my West, I'm going to go, I guess I'll just go best to worst that I think. And I'll give you just a little snippet on each. The Suns, I think they like that. Really, you could convince me of any of these top three teams that they would win the West, and that's the Suns, Lakers, and Jazz. I don't know what order they'll finish, but it seems the Lakers seem like they're the overwhelming favorite, but like they could also be the team that's full of veterans and they are fine not winning the number one seed. I like the Warriors at number 4, the Mavericks at 5, and the Mavericks are the team that I had the toughest time not putting higher because I think Luka is so good. Nuggets 6, worried about Jamal Murray. I think they could even go lower than this. Blazers 7, Grizzlies 8. I really like the Grizzlies this year. I think John Morant makes that leap. Clippers 9, no Kawhi, but I think we saw from the playoffs that a Paul George led team can be good. And then I got the Wolves at number 10. And before preseason, I don't know if I would have had them honestly in there, but everything that's happened over the last 3 weeks, I feel way better about them. So I was tempted to even put them at like number 9, but
Yeah.
Julian, what do you got?
This is a really tough one, man. It's like every team I kind of saw when I put the number by them and I was like, this is too low. And then I tried to move them up higher and it's like, well, who the hell am I replacing here? So we have the same top 3. I have them in a different order. I have Jazz, Suns, Lakers. I don't think the Lakers are going to be stressing winning regular season games enough for them to be a 2 seed. But just with LeBron and AD, that alone, I think as long as, assuming some level of good health, I think we have to assume that they're going to be a home court team.
Yeah.
With the Jazz, I just think like they really got to go for it this year. And maybe they will take a different approach after they didn't have playoff success. Like maybe they'll spend more time resting their guys, but I don't think they lost that series because they were tired. So I think they're going to go for it again.
And that's a weird thing, right? Because it's like Conley and Mitchell were hurt, so it's like,
right.
And they all they had to do was beat the Clippers without Kawhi.
Exactly.
They couldn't do it. So yeah, I think there is like this sense of urgency there.
Yep.
That
So
if you don't
think,
make a run this year, you probably have to like try to blow. Like I don't know if that means getting rid of Gobert or whatever, but yeah.
And similarly, I think with the Suns, there, there's kind of this narrative that their championship run wasn't legit, and so I think they will be, which I think is bullshit. But
yeah,
I think they're going to really come out and try to prove a lot of people wrong. One thing to watch on that is this DeAndre Ayton stuff.
That's weird. I was going to mention that.
It's pretty weird.
Yeah,
like you don't usually see this happening, especially with players good as Ayton,
and especially a player who like we saw him grow in front of our eyes. Of like this guy that might not be worthy of a number 1 pick to like, oh, this guy's changing games in the playoffs.
He's a really good defender. Like he's probably one of the top 5 big man defenders in the league, and his offensive game is coming along really well. So I bet they work it out. And he just gets the max. But for those of you who maybe haven't read this story, the Suns basically said that they don't think DeAndre Ayton's worth the full max.
Yeah, trying to put in a bunch of like escalators and like, you can make this much, but
yeah. I don't know. So that's something to watch, but I still think that team will be really good. And I think that they really like each other and have good camaraderie. I like what they did in the offseason. So I think the Suns will be good again. 4th, I have the Nuggets. I'm a little less worried about, I really think Jokic is just incredible. And I think he's just going to keep making the guys around him better. 5th, I have the Clippers. That might be too high for them. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think that might be too high for them. So I might, the next couple teams, I don't know, but that's a good team.
I was going to say, and like we saw in the playoffs, like without Kawhi, they were able to make that run. And I mean, we'll get into the Nets in a little bit in the East, but like, obviously you would rather have Kawhi than not have Kawhi. But like when you're not going to have him for the whole year, like you're preparing a little differently. And I don't know. I think
this is also like the perfect year for kind of a Paul George redemption because he was legitimately in the MVP conversation 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think that we could see that again because So I think they're gonna. I think I'm fine with them at 5th. 6th, I have the Mavs. I agree that Luke is so good. I don't know what's going on with the rest of that roster. So much hinges on Kristaps Porzingis,
and it's like Jason Kidd. Like,
yeah, I know the Jason Kidd weirdness. He's never been a good coach. Like. There's already weird stuff. I don't know. That just doesn't feel good to me. 7, I have the Blazers. Maybe a homer thing again, but I could see them sneaking up.
I like that. Like, I mean, especially because it seems like they're more likely to make a trade to make them better than get rid of Lillard. So it's like, I mean, that's where like if they also they're a Ben Simmons team because they give up McCollum. Like then you're talking like they could be a top 5 team in the West and probably a little more.
People also just like aren't talking about the fact that at all that CJ and Nurk missed half the season last year.
Yeah.
And when Nurk is playing, and if Nurk can stay healthy, that's really the key because when he plays, they're really good. And they're actually even good defensively, which not usually their strong suit. 8th, I have the Warriors. That's gonna definitely be the one that I think.
So tell me why. I have them at 4, but I'll tell you why I like them first. I like them because I think Clay comes back in January. They ease him back. But I like them because I think Wiseman makes a huge leap because it's not a weird COVID offseason. Well, I mean, it's still a weird COVID, but like not like, oh yeah, like we don't get to do any preparation. Yeah. Where you get a full off season where there's not as much pressure. Like I don't know. and now that the Wiggins, like, he's not the most important player on their team, but like if he wasn't playing and not vaccinated and like whatever was going to miss half the games, like, yeah, then you're like, I don't know. I like that they're mixed, and then it's like Steph Curry. I don't know.
Yeah. No, and I totally understand the argument for them being higher. I just don't really know like what like is if there's just so many what ifs. It's like Steph is going to have to carry an enormous burden on this team, and I know that Steph is an MVP, but the rest of that roster is not that impressive, and especially if Clay is coming back and like either being super eased in or super not his former self. I'll just say I would be way more worried about them in the playoffs than I would be about them finishing high in the regular season, because I think that's another team I could see them saying we need to give our young guys some run, because when it comes to the playoffs,
We have to
we're going to
depend
need
on,
them,
yeah.
and they have to get practice basically. So I don't know. We'll see. I have the Wolves at 9. I have the Grizzlies at 10. I also think the Grizzlies are good, but I just couldn't really figure out who to rank them above.
Yeah,
And
I know.
I'm kind of optimistic about the Wolves right now. So
It's hard because like just by looking, well, one thing on the Warriors, I I don't know if I did this on purpose to put them up higher, but like, and I did this with a few teams in the East as well, like where I just put them up maybe a spot higher, simply because I'm like, maybe they get Bradley Beal, or maybe they get one of
yeah,
these weird guys that
right. Yeah,
like the
totally.
Warriors suddenly like give up like, yeah, whoever, like, a deal with Wiggins, Wiseman, and like a bunch of first round picks, and then you
Yeah,
get whatever. But the crazy thing with the West, like probably apart from like the Wolves and Grizzlies, um, I would say are probably the two teams that I would not put in this category. But you could tell me that the Nuggets are the number 1 seed and
yeah,
the Lakers are the 6th seed. Like, I don't know how likely that is, but you could tell me the Blazers are the 3 seed and the Suns are
right.
the 6th seed. Like, there are so many variables here. Like, unlike I think the Eastern Conference is a little more predictable, but the West is a bloodbath. And then you're not even talking about, and I know like we all shit on the Pelicans, and I think deservedly so, but like if they have a healthy Zion, like they still have Brandon Ingram, like maybe they figure it out and they're
Yeah,
like 9 or 10. Like the Spurs, like we all like count them out. And I think I'm not super
they're
confident
gonna be
about
pretty
them, but like,
bad.
but also like, who knows? Like you
Right,
could tell me that
exactly.
they're the 9th seed in February, and I'd like be like, yeah, that makes sense, I
Yeah,
guess. All right, let's go to
yeah.
the East. Let's go to the
I just
East.
one more thing. I
Yeah,
feel like more so than I've ever felt before that kind of the top 8 or 9 teams are locks. Like I don't think we're going to see any teams that are not these kind of 10 teams that we've just talked about in the playoffs.
like you're saying, like,
I have no idea what the order is going to be. I
yeah,
don't
but
see
like,
the
so
Kings. I don't see the Pelicans, Spurs. Like I don't see those
are
guys
you
sneaking in.
saying it on this podcast that the Timberwolves are a lock to make the play in?
No, sorry, no. I should clarify. I really
So
mean that. I really mean the top 8.
yeah, yeah, I
I
think
guess you
that's
could
fair.
see the 9 or 10 kind of shifting around, but I don't. I think between like Suns, Lakers, Jazz, Warriors, Mavs, Nuggets, Blazers, Clippers, I'd be shocked if any of those teams missed the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's fair. Unless a big injury. Um,
Yeah,
all right, let's go to the East. I have the Nets as the number 1 seed, and obviously we have a lot to talk about there with like Kyrie seemingly
mhm.
like not going to play,
It's
which
all
is like
good.
which is predictable but unpredictable, and um, I you know I'll wait till you give your rankings,
Yeah,
but like I do think like we similar to how we talked about like Kawhi, where it's like, people ask if, well, can the Nets win without Kyrie? It's like, I think when you know that you're not going to have him for the whole year, it's easier than having him for half the games. Um,
the when we could just talk about this now. I
yeah,
mean, the rest of the Nets roster is also so much better
yeah.
than the rest of some of
And
these
like
other teams that are
You get
missing
Patty
this, and
Mills.
that's what I mean. Like even
Yeah,
beyond KD and Harden, like Patty Mills, even like if LaMarcus Aldridge comes back and is decent, Blake Griffin will
yeah.
give you a
Paul
couple
Millsap.
games. Millsap, yeah. Even like Nick Claxton is getting better. Like there's these guys who are just like
Uh, I mean, what's his name? Joe
Bruce
Harris.
Brown,
Yeah, yeah. They got a nice team.
Joe Harris. Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, like you'd rather have Kyrie than not have him. But then again, like last year, he also missed like 3 weeks just because
Yeah.
he wanted to leave. I don't know. He's such a weird guy that like when he's on, he's on. But like, is that worth it? I don't know the answer.
I mean, I think the best move for the Nets is to trade him. I
Yeah,
don't think that'll happen, but
trade him to a team that like where he doesn't need to be vaccinated.
yeah.
Yeah, like Wizards. Um, Yeah. Also, they get Bradley Beal.
Oh my god.
Jesus. Okay. Then I have the Nets, or sorry, then I have the Bucks at the number 2 seed. I have the Heat at 3, and the more I think about it, is like they might be the team that, similar to what you said, where
Yep.
like they're with Butler and Lowry, that maybe they don't try as hard. So maybe that's high. The 76ers at 4, just because I don't know what they're going to get for Simmons, or like obviously he's not going to play. So where does that fit in? I
Yeah.
don't know. I have the Celtics at 5. I'm actually a lot higher on the Celtics than 5th here, but I just didn't know who to put them ahead of. And they're also like that sneaky Bradley Beal landing spot, perhaps. I have the Bulls 6. I really like Zach LaVine and like Lonzo Ball. I think that's a fun team. I think all their moves this offseason, but maybe besides the DeRozan one made sense, but I like that. The Hawks at 7, which I probably understand is like too low because they made the Eastern Conference Finals last year. But again, I'm looking at these teams and I'm like, I don't I don't know where they quite fit in. I hate to say that they had like a lucky playoff run, but it seemed like maybe they did. The Knicks at 8, just simply because I don't think there's like tons of talent, but I think Tibbs just is going to get you 41 wins by himself. Um, Pacers at 9, Rick Carlisle, I like that move. And then I have the Hornets at 10, and that's a team that could be like the 4 seed too, and I wouldn't be shocked. But what do you
Yeah,
got?
the Hornets this year could kind of be last year's Hawks, and there are some parallels.
Yeah,
Um, I have mine are pretty similar. I actually found the East surprisingly hard. I think that this Eastern Conference is more interesting this year than it's been in several years. I actually think the Bucks are going to finish with the best regular season record. I have them at number 1, Nets at 2. I have the Celtics at 3. I think the Celtics, again, another team with kind of a lot to prove.
yeah. New head
I don't
coach.
know. Yeah, new head coach, and also just like a couple of guys who really want to prove that they can be superstars.
Yeah.
And I think they probably can be, but this is kind of, we need to see it. Sixers at 4. I think they're better than 4, but I just, with all the Simmons stuff, I really
It's
can't
hard. Yeah.
put them higher.
And then suddenly, like if Embiid does get hurt, it's like, okay, that's
So Tobias Harris
that
show,
that's
like,
it. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Although, again, like they're another team with like some nice supporting pieces, but certainly not enough to get home court advantage without their stars. I mean,
Yeah.
what team in the league is? So,
Yeah.
Bulls at 5. I think they're just going to put up so many points and just outgun a lot of teams in the regular season. I don't think they're making it far in the playoffs, but like, yeah, I think they're a perfect regular season team. I have the Heat at 6 for the exact reason you mentioned, which is that I think Lowry and Jimmy are just going to get a lot of rest and they're just going to try to bludgeon people in the playoffs, which is going to be awesome, but I don't think they're going to have home court. Hawks at 7. I agree with you. They're super deep. It's really interesting. I don't know. It's like if a couple of those young guys really pop, then
Yeah.
they could
Like
be the 2 seed.
yeah, Cam Reddish, like who knows? Yeah.
But it's, I don't know. And then, 8 Knicks, 9 Hornets, 10 Pacers. The bottom of the East is sneaky interesting because I think the Pacers and the Hornets are actually both pretty good.
Yeah.
And they could really be pushing like, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Knicks fall out, fall to 10. But Randall was really, really good last year. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, dude, it's hard. And then like even a team like the Wizards, you could tell me like makes a weird run if they keep Beal
Yeah.
and then like they think they got deeper with the Russell Westbrook trade. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Let's just go to our finals pick right now.
Sure.
So the odds are right now, if you were to bet on the DraftKings sportsbook app, the Nets are 2-1 odds. The Lakers are 4-1. Bucks are 9-1. Warriors 11-1, which seems hilarious to me. Jazz 15-1. Clippers 17-1, along with the Suns. 76ers sneaky good bet at 20-1. Nuggets 20-1. Heat 25-1. Mavericks 28-1. Hawks 35-1. Then you have the Celtics 40-1. Blazers 80-1. Bulls 80-1. So yeah, I think for me, I like the Nets.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know, crazy. but I do like the Nets. But I guess if I'm making bets, we can obviously use a sportsbook app here in Minnesota. But if I was to make a bet on this, I really like the 76ers at 20-1 because if all of a sudden you get like CJ McCollum for Ben Simmons and you are able to get like maybe another piece with that too, it's like Oh, then they're the number 2 or 3 seed in the East again. And then I like the Celtics at 41. If there's like
Yeah.
any potential trade there too, I think those are good odds.
Yeah, I also obviously think the Nets are going to win. But I think my favorite bet is the Jazz. Just because
The
I could
15
really,
to 1.
yeah, like if everyone's healthy and they really catch fire, like they're the only team I can think of that I think can really go at their best toe to toe with the Nets in terms of like being able to catch fire on offense and keep up there and also be really good on the defensive end. So I don't think that's going to happen. But I'm not going to make a 2-1 bet when I go to
Yeah, I
Vegas in
know,
November.
right? Yeah. Yeah. Even like the Lakers at 4 to 1 and the Warriors at 11 to 1 just seems
Right.
silly to me. All right. With that being said, let's just go right into our DraftKings read before we get to some of the other things. You guys, hockey is back, and DraftKings Sportsbook has an unbelievable offer to celebrate the greatest sport on ice, which I don't know what the competition there is. Like the greatest sport on ice.
Curling.
Curling, I guess. Yeah. That's not saying much. You just kind of win by default. New customers can bet just $1 on any hockey game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a goal. Doesn't matter if it's a one-time clapper or a deft deflection. However they light the lamp, you win. This is all new language to me. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code TBPN or use the code THPN that's our hockey podcast network. They're our friends over there. Throw down $1 in any hockey game and win 100 in free bets if either team scores a goal. This week, one puck in the net scores you a big win with the promo code TBPN or THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 years or older. New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I've often been called a one-time clapper.
The old one-time clapper, Julian Andrews. Yeah, I've never been called that. Okay. MVP. So the more I look at your pick, I enjoy yours much more. But I took so the MVP odds via DraftKings Sportsbook. Luka is the favorite at plus 380. Durant is 6 to 1. Embiid is 7 to 1. Giannis and Steph Curry are 9 to 1. Damian Lillard 14 to 1. Jokic, the defending MVP, and LeBron James are 15 to 1. Then you have Harden and Trae Young at 20 to 1. Devin Booker, Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard, who doesn't seem like he's going to play this year. Russell Westbrook are all 25 to 1. Paul George, Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell 30 to 1. And Zion Williamson is 40 to 1.
Dude,
I took
there are
Embiid.
some intriguing picks here.
Yeah, I took Embiid with the 7 to 1. And like I know I'm basically arguing against like the logic here because my logic is if Embiid can stay healthy, which he just never has been able to, but like if the 76ers are able to stay in like the top 4, and even if like let's like especially if they don't trade Simmons right away and Embiid's averaging like 32 and 15 and like 6 assists, because again, like Embiid was going to win it last year if he doesn't get hurt. So I like that for value. I like your pick, so I won't ruin it. But I also like Devin Booker at 25 to 1. I think that's like if the Suns are like the number 2 seed and Chris Paul plays less minutes. I like that. I like that bet. Who do you got?
So my favorite pick here is Harden at 20 to 1. I think that's
Yep.
kind of a ridiculous odds to get on that because if the Nets are really good and KD doesn't play a lot of games, or if he,
or Kyrie.
Kyrie doesn't play. Sorry, if Kyrie doesn't play a lot of games and Harden, just averages a ton of points, I could see Harden being the star of the Nets this year, even over KD. In terms of value, I think Jason Tatum is interesting. I don't think I would put my money there, but I think that's interesting.
30 to 1, yeah.
Yeah, right. I think Paul George is interesting for reasons we've talked about before, and I think AD is a really interesting pick.
I like the Durant or like I know 6 to 1's not like super intriguing, but I do like the Durant or Harden angle.
Yeah,
like if you're not getting Kyrie.
The problem with the Harden, I mean, the reason Harden has these odds is if the Nets are really good, probably KD's winning, right?
Yeah, you probably think so. Like the only scenario I think where that probably doesn't happen is if like KD misses 20 games in the middle of the season and Harden's the one that like carried them. Kind of like similar to kind of similar to what happened last year, right? Like Harden came over and it was like, oh shit, like he's averaging 12 assists per game, and he's like changed his whole game. I mean, because we forget like the lasting memory of Harden last year was just like hobbling around the court, unable to shoot. But when like he changed his entire game for Brooklyn, and then I think we're all like, oh yeah, like he's really good. We forgot like we were so sick of him in Houston, but like he's able to change his game literally like game to game
Yeah.
for whatever his team needs from him.
I'm convinced now. Like, I think that even if KD's healthy, Harden could win just because he could. I mean, his stats could blow KD's out of the water if Harden like Harden can shoot it like nobody. Like if he's averaging like 30 points and 10 assists and 8 rebounds a game, like he's gonna win. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
No, I like that. But you're right. A lot of intriguing bets, certainly. And like the Luka, like I love Luka more than anybody, but like
get why he's the favorite.
Yeah, plus three. Like if the Mavericks are the 6th seed, I mean, it seems like somebody else probably wins. All right, let's go to the rookie of the year. The odds are Cade Cunningham is plus 250, Jalen Green is plus 275, Jalen Suggs plus 700, Evan Mobley is plus 800, and Scotty Barnes is plus 1200. And then, after that, it's pretty much all kind of long shots. So, I like Jalen Green in Houston. I don't necessarily think that he's like the best player in the draft or in the rookie class, but I think he's just going to play like 40 minutes a game, and he's going to average like 24 points a game, and his percentages might be bad, but like I think he'll be one of those guys that like even if the Rockets win like 17 games, I think he'll be like, oh wow, like this guy can really score.
I think the one thing to watch with him is that there are other young guys in Houston that Houston is trying to develop. So if he struggles early, I could kind of see like, oh, maybe this is more the Kevin Porter Jr. show. Like,
yeah,
maybe, like, but I think that's a good pick.
Who do you got?
I think I picked Suggs.
Yeah, I like that though.
I'm now not feeling great about, but we'll see. I don't know. My favorite sleeper pick is Sengun, Alperen Sengun.
Yeah, plus 1200.
Yeah. I think all of these other people on this list, there's no freaking way.
Yeah, like I like Mitchell a lot from Sacramento, but they just have like
not
15
winning rookie of the year.
They
on
have
that
15
roster,
guards.
Though.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I'm trying to like pick a deep sleeper for fun. Maybe Franz Wagner.
At 35
Trey Mann has looked good. Like that's the other thing. If Zion is hurt and then Ingram goes down and Trey Mann just goes off, that could happen. But now we're really getting into
I mean, I like the Suggs plus 700. The only problem is like Suggs is going to be that guy who averages like 14 points, 8 assists, and like 5 rebounds. Even if he's like more valuable to his team, like Cunningham's going to average something similar. Jalen Green is going to average more points.
Yeah, Evan Mobley talked about Cunningham.
I think Evan Mobley would be the worst bet simply because I think big men are just, and they have big men in Cleveland. So if there is like a similar to what we saw last year with Wiseman, like if there's a slow learning curve, it's like, well, that's not.
It's not going to work.
Cunningham,
I mean, Cunningham, like I'm just a little worried about some of the, like maybe Killian Hayes is the point guard. You know, like, and maybe that's insane because Cade Cunningham is way better than Killian Hayes, and so he'll eventually be a better player. But I wonder if that could kind of slow his learning development. I also wonder about Suggs and Cole Anthony, like how that's going to kind of work itself out. I don't know. Teams just like don't give up on their guys right away. So I like Jalen Green because I don't know. It's really interesting that all of the kind of top picks in this draft are going places where there are kind of already people who play their position. You know, it's not like
the only exception is Suggs.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, because Orlando hasn't had a point guard in 10 years.
Well, they have Markelle Fultz.
Well,
that's true. Yeah, we'll see.
I had like a good point guard since Jameer Nelson. I don't think. Okay, those are our predictions. We will take a look back at them later in the year, and we'll be really wrong. Let's get into our 3-star sports card corner. 3-star sports cards. Big thank you for sponsoring our pod. If you're in the Twin Cities area, or if you're traveling to the Twin Cities ever, they have a location in Bloomington, and they have a location in Little Canada. They have so much product. They have tons, like whatever you want. They have any sort of if you need cases or whatever. So they've been great. I go through them to grade PSA. Obviously, PSA is down right now, but it will soon be back up. So I'm going to go through one thing that I like and one thing that I do not like. One thing I like. So Timberwolves fans will like this. Um, I I really like going in on Anthony Edwards cards right now. 2 weeks ago, I bought an SGC 9.5 rated rookie, and I think I got it for like 45 or $46. Which let's
Wow.
just say that you crack that and you send it in a PSA. You hope it's a 9 or a 10. But I'll probably keep it in SGC. I don't really want to do that. But
Yeah.
PSA's down. I think people are getting impatient. And this goes for really any guy that you like. So, for me, I'm focusing on someone like Edwards. But people are getting impatient. And I think they're flipping cards now because they don't want to wait for PSA to open, or they're grading through SGC or other companies, which is not a bad thing. I've gone through SGC as well. But I mean, the value on SGC is just lower than what PSA would be. So, I don't know. Like, yeah, then you keep the SGC of that player, and then you see if SGC grows. But if it doesn't and it tanks, you can always crack the case and then send that card back into PSA to see it. So, I guess one thing I like is it's a really good time to just buy whoever you like. Maybe with the exception of like the big hitters still, like like LaMelo Ball, obviously, like
Sure.
LeBron, Durant. But like if there's a rookie from last year's class, like I think Eric Nesmith from the Celtics is a good example of he had some shine. If you really like someone like that, there's no cards of him graded that you're probably going to get them all for really cheap. So yeah, I think it's a good time. One thing I don't like, and I guess this had a lot to do with how football went. I don't like select retail basketball. So
Hmm.
basically, I think Panini is making and this is like kind of appreciated, but I think they're making a big pitch to make cards more available because nobody can get them. And I think the one product that they're creating tons of cards for is Select, which always used to be like one of the top tier uh brand, like Prism and Select were kind of right up
Mhm.
there. But I think they're just printing so many of them now. And I know for football at least, it was like the variations weren't even that rare.
Mm.
So I don't know. And like it's kind of similar to Prism where they're like I think they just print so much of it. So um I hate to say like if you're gonna buy Select, buy Hobby, but if you're gonna buy Select, I'd rather spend $500 on a Select hobby box where I know I can get something numbered or get
Yeah.
something rare rather than getting a bunch of base Select cards that they're just going to print forever because they want people to be able to get their hands on some sort of product. So I'm probably staying away from Select retail. Still not opposed to Select hobby though. So yeah, otherwise I'm trying to think cards that I bought. I bought a Luka Doncic Optic PSA 9 rated rookie. That went for like $150. So yeah, trying to think what else I bought a box today of Crown Royal. It's like their hybrid, and I got like a cool Giannis and a cool Steph Curry insert. So yeah,
Nice.
anything you guys hit, send our way. But yeah, basketball season, it's right around the corner, and I think a lot of these
Feels
guys,
good.
yeah, it does, and yeah. So Julian, we'll be back next week. We'll probably talk Wolves preseason game from Friday, just like overall reactions from that. Um, and then do they only have 2 preseason games?
I don't know. I was looking at that.
Let me just check this
Play
out.
tomorrow. And then they play
It looks like they play tomorrow, then they play wow, they have like 2
Monday.
more. Yeah, Monday against the
Clippers.
Clippers, and then they play the Nets on that following Thursday.
Okay.
So, okay, so 3 more preseason games.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess on Monday's podcast, we'll probably go over for Friday's preseason game, and we'll talk about Monday's preseason game. Yeah. So plenty of
Perfect.
lots. Yeah, a lot to talk about, but sweet. Well, Julian, thank you so much, my man.
You too.
So you'll see if you want to watch this. Well, you're listening already, so you don't want to watch it, but it'll be on YouTube. And then we're gonna try to create more video clips that we can share online for you guys. In between the work days, I had some time to edit some stuff. So, all right, Julian, thank you so much, man. Everybody listening, you guys rock. Go Wolves.